So this one's not going to be particularly thought out, well thought out, planned, cogent argument. I don't know. So, um, one other thing, I'll give you this. This is a personal example. I'll just give you the example instead of trying to make it a universal thing. So there was an Indian restaurant that I liked going to near my house. Uh, I liked going there. I liked going to get the butter chicken and occasionally tikka masala and whatever. Have some naan bread and some basmati rice. Okay, so I liked going there. Okay, the problem was originally they were closed on Mondays, I think, or they were originally closed on Tuesdays. That's what it was. I had Mondays off, so I'd go on my off days on Mondays. Go get there. Then they were like, no, well, we're really less busy on Mondays, so they closed on Mondays and said we'll open on Tuesdays. I'm like, all right, that makes it a little bit more inconvenient, but that's fine. Whatever, I'll go on Tuesdays. So I work in the afternoons after 5, and so I would have to go in at 5. So I'd go eat a little bit before I had to go into work. Sometimes I'd go for a run, go work out, and then take a shower, and then on my way to work, I'd go between 3 and 5. I'd go get some food. The thing about it is after they started closing on Mondays, switched from Mondays to Tuesdays, then they started cutting their hours. They're like, oh, okay, well, we're not that really busy, so we'll serve lunch between 11 and about 3 o'clock, and then we'll close for a couple hours, and then we'll come back, and we'll serve dinner from like 6:30 to 9, and like 30 minutes before we close, we're not going to take orders anymore because, we can't bear to have somebody order 30 minutes before and then we have to clean up after it. That place is closed now. They're no longer open. And it's not because of, no, not just because of like me, okay? But I'm just saying, I want to talk about like the mentality it takes to get to that point. Because I don't know why some businesses think that the solution to like lack of business is to cut hours, like cut open hours. I think some things it makes sense. Some things is like, oh, you cut costs. Yeah, like cutting costs is one thing, but the thing is, I wish I could have sat down with the owners of that place and just been like, dude, look, I want to come to eat your place, but you keep changing the hours, and then after you change the hours, you cut the hours too. So like, I understand that you're probably not busy between 3 and 5, and maybe you have 1 or 2 customers. Okay, maybe, right? It's not that much. So you're like, screw it. But you saying it's not worth it to be open for those hours because we only get 1 or 2 customers. I wanted to tell him you're forgetting about the potential customers that can come, right? Like maybe somebody wanted to try it out for the first time, and then everybody. If you're opening a restaurant, you should be open for like customers' convenience, right? You're open for the customer's convenience, not for your own. It's not like, oh, well, you know what? I'd really like to go into work late, so you know what? I'm not going to open until afternoon. Okay, but everybody eats lunch at 11. Everyone goes on their lunch break at work around 11:30, 11. Right? And I wish I really could have just sat down with them and just talked with them and been like, dude, if y'all would open regular hours, I would be here so much more. And you know what? I understand you're not busy during those hours. So do some advertising. Do some specials or something. Get the word out, and maybe people will come during those times. Like it's the addition by subtraction thing. I don't understand why people think by cutting hours, and this is not just this place. I've seen it so many times with other restaurants where they're like, oh, well, we're not going to open between these hours, or we're going to cut hours. You know? That's I work in a restaurant, so maybe this is like experience, knowledge, but like that stuff happens. That stuff happens at my place too. Like the head cook is always like telling me like, oh, we should close an hour early. It's not really busy that last hour, David. So we should just close early. We should just close an hour early. And this is the difficult thing about being a manager or, being the one in charge. All your employees are always going to want to half-ass it. They're always like any of the holidays. They're always like, David, we're going to close early today. We're going to close early. No, we're not closing early. Oh well, if it's not busy, can we close it early? No, Stop asking me, dude. Seriously. Because they don't care. That's the thing about the situation is because they're employees, they get paid hourly or they get paid their salary or whatever. They don't care. Like for them, they prefer to be not busy at all. It's like, it's not busy. I just sit around on my ass and not do anything. They make the same amount of money whether they make, 10 customers or one customer. And that's the point of like the difficulty of being like in a managerial position is because you really have to care about that stuff. And if you don't hire people or you don't find people who care about that stuff, your business is going to go down. It's going to tank, because everybody's going to be cutting the corners and trying to get out early and, not answering. Like that's something that always happens. Is people always like, oh, 30 minutes before we close, we're not picking up the phone anymore. Because if we don't pick up the phone, then we don't have to take, dude, like, yeah, I mean, like, your livelihood doesn't, rely on that shit, but mine does, like the better the restaurant does, the better I benefit. The more chances that I'm going to get a raise or more chance that y'all can get a raise. But people don't see it that way. And it's I don't want to say it's frustrating. It's disappointing because I wish it's disappointing that people don't think like openly in that way. And this is the same thing with the hours. It's just, why do people think that they're going to get more by doing less? I mean, it just seems like such a backward way. I just don't get it. Really. But, I mean, hey, if that's the way they want to play it, they can shut it down. They can not get the promotions, whatever. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Chinese people do so well or did so well when they came to America or in America now. Or I don't know about now because maybe they've absorbed the American mindset. But the Chinese culture, a lot of it is like, oh shit, you sell your hamburger for $5, I sell mine for $4, and then they just gonna undercut each other, and then so somebody sells it for $4, then they go, oh, I'll sell it for $3, and then they just keep cutting each other down and just screwing each other over. But the point about it is their work ethic is always like, well, I'm gonna do more than the other person. You know what? He's gonna sell it for $3, I'll sell it for $2. And just, I'm going to survive and I'm going to find a way to get everybody's customers. It's disgusting and like cutthroat, but it's also the reason why culturally they're able to survive. So anyways, hope that made sense. It sucks because there's an Indian place I can't eat around my house. It closed like at the end of last year. And it was always sad, man, because every time I go in there, I just wanted to tell them. Or actually, every time I showed up at like 3:30 and they were closed, I wanted to just like leave a note like, dude, I came to eat and you guys weren't open. So take my money, but they don't want it. All right, man. See you guys tomorrow.